Hi guys, it's Ryan here. Just doing a quick video to show my new track coming on Alter Ego Recordings called What Happens Next. Just a quick video to show the production behind it, why I did certain things, etc. Very like the last production video I did, just to let you guys see how I produce, basically. The track should be out now, okay, so link should be in the description. So let's get to it. Right guys, here's the project for What Happens Next. As you can see, it's not the biggest of projects, if I'm honest. There's not a huge lot going on. We'll comment by some other tracks that I've done, but there still is quite a few layers here and there. So we're going to go through different sections of the track and just have a look at them, see what I do. So I'm not going to go through all of the effects, etc. We'll just look at the atmosphere, because you don't want to look at rise as in just random white noise effects. That's just useless. So we'll have a quick look at the atmosphere.
Our fears focus our attention on a question that is as important in life as it is in literature.
Very simple, just to give the track some atmosphere and movement. Even if it does sound a bit off key, some of it, compared to the track, it works fine, as you can't hardly tell in the track. It just gives a bit of movement, a bit of atmosphere. So simple vocal effect. Again, it's going to take a while to get in, so I'm not going to play that, no point. And atmosphere, acid atmosphere. Again, can't hear it, I'll just play it on here. Nothing new really, just some volume automation and literally a filter cut off, just to bring it in. Let's move on to, let's see, the vocals. I got the vocals, if you don't know, I'm a science teacher. I got the vocals from a teacher conference meeting. I found a quite inspirational quote, so I ripped that off and pinched it. What have I done to it? Actually, I like to listen to it first.
Our fears provoke in us a very similar form.
Huge delay on it.
Our fears focus our attention on a question that is as important in life as it is in literature.
I've also automated the delay on it, just to get the feedback, the delay, just to add a bit more delay to it. I could have bounced that over, but I was a bit lazy. So what have I got on here? Nothing too much, just a simple EQ to take off too much of the high and a little bit of the low. I've got a sort of flange going on, which just to give it some movement, some reverb, Valhalla, which I use quite a bit, and H delay, which I use quite a bit as well. So let's move on to the kick. The kick is probably, it's one of the, you'd be surprised, the most basic things I do to it. It's simple. Nice clicky kick, 2 layers I think. Oh. Yeah, 2 layers. Normal kick with a little clicky top end. Some people don't like doing it this way, but I do this before the mix down, so I do all the volume automation inside of actual Project and FL Studios, just to build up. And also, instead of using a filter cutoff, I literally just use the the solo button on the Fab filter. Actually, wait there, let me double check. I've done it somewhere. I mean on the XL filter from Vengeance. So literally, as soon as I want the kick, if it's a build up, I literally cut out the low end, just so there's not too much bass when it's building up. Just here, things like that from here, and then further it into the mix down. If there's any things here or there which stand out, I'll then change it a bit. So literally, it's simple, no compression. No EQ, well in this stage there's no EQ given to it, that didn't need any, so there's no point. So moving on to percussion. Quite a few different layers I think on this one. you have quite a few different layers. I'll cheat a little bit with it. Put a limit on it. So yeah, just a simple percussion to give it some grooves. I've got an open hat, very quiet, some rolling closed hat, clap. I might even have one layer on this, yeah, one layer on the clap. There, what got here? A ride, just to again give it some high end on the downbeat. We've got some generic loops, quiet. All of them give depth. So again, this is how it sounds all together. Again, the only automation I generically use is just a low pass filter all the way through the track. Very simple. On the processing, I have all my tracks into different buses. So for example, I've got all my percussion with percussion bus, acids and acid bus, bass is a bass bus. I generally have to sub away from that. I've got snares, kicks, leads, effects, etc. So what have I done in my percussion? I've used a transit designer on the front end of the kick, just on the tap, just to pull it out a little bit. I don't want it to cut through too much, but it does the job perfectly. Generic simple EQ. Sometimes I can boost around the 1 to 2k, but sometimes that interferes with the leads. And simple low pass and LFO tool just to give it some side chain. Sub bass. Let's move on to the bass lines. I think the sub bass is fairly simple again. I think I generally use Spire for everything. Yep, Spire. Have I used? Yeah, one of my sub basses I use, which you can buy on my sample packs on my loops. Very simple. Mid bass. I think this is from Silent Feature. Yeah, I very rarely use it anymore. Simple pattern, standard triplets. What? This is probably Spire. Yeah, it sounds like Spire. Yep, Spire. Standard triplets. And another little mid bass from Spire, it sounds like, yes. To try and again, just add a bit of movement and a bit of depth to the mid bass. So together it sounds like this with the bass. With the kick. In my tracks I generally like to have the mid bass be front, right at the front of the mix, but in this one I've let the melodic elements jump to the front. So what have I done processing wise? I usually put quite a bit of processing on my mid bass, so let's have a look. Yep. Another tech character. Thanks Sam Laxon for pointing this out for me. I've also got some glue compression, which generally I'd use near the end. I don't know why it's this early. Just usually I say at the end because I want to squash it all together towards the end. After all the effects have happened, you can use it, or you can have the delay after. It depends really. Some trance in design on. Again, I'll probably have a little just. Yeah. Yeah, just to give it a bit more attack. Some simple EQ. I haven't taken all the bottom off because I see it sounded too thin without it. Some reverb again, Valhalla, tiny in the mix though, as in I don't want to drown out the track. Some delay, standard filtering, and again LFO tool. I don't think I've done much. Again, I'm not gonna lie, this is quite a basic track on this one. Usually I have a lot of high pass filters, etc., coming in on the different basses as well as low passes, just so it gives it a bit more smoother transition, but it seemed to work well in the track, so I left it as it is. Moving on to the acids. Again, a bit like the bass line, it's not the forefront of the track, it's just to add some atmosphere. So here what it looks like. Generally they're quite driving in my tracks, but again, this is just atmospheric really, a lot of it. Ooh, it looks like a long reverb tail on that. So basically what it sounds like, I've just did volume automation, yeah, I think, as well. Yeah, must have. Generally though, in the mix down, I'll bring it a bit more smoothly again, like I said, with different cut-off frequencies. Cut-off filters, sorry. Low pass cut-off filters. Okay, so what does the first one sound like? I think this is my acid, I think. Nope, it's not. But generally, I like to make my own acids. Again, fan of my loops pack. But yeah, just an acid to bring it, give some atmosphere in the track. What else do I have? Acid to cut through the mix a bit and give it some drive. And I think this one's probably my one. Yeah. Similar to the first acid, it just gives the track some atmosphere and a lot of movement in those. So I've bounced this one over, probably just because I right at the start of the project, I knew that's what I wanted in the track, so you know there's no point keeping this MIDI. So what did I do to my acid? Oh, that's jumped all the way down there. So on the acid bus, again, I've actually got no EQ on this. If I have an EQ on the bus, it's because I use my own template. So this will come that when I open up a project. I should have, yeah, or I should have some EQ just to cut it off. Generic glue compressor just to pull the parts together, and some sidechain, and that's it. So here's the stuff that I would say makes the track what it is. I think the plucks give it a really uplifting sound, and nothing too special, just generic low pass to bring them in. So here's what they sound like. Nice little pattern. Very attack heavy sound as well. I felt like I'd add extra attack in because it wasn't cutting through the mix very well. So instead of doing what you should do and lower the volume over tracks, basically I thought I'll whack the attack up on that. What else do? Whatever. I've got a little running up. I'll put it with the cutover. So together they sound like this. Computer doesn't like this capture software, so I'll have to do it individually. Don't know why, just doesn't like it. So anyway, yeah, those two are the plugs. On the track we have, where's my plugs? Yeah, funny thing actually, I forgot to make a plug bus. So basically every time I do a track, it I have to make a little random one at the end. So yeah, plug, I've got a Noveltech character on it, some brightness, some compression with fab filter, some EQ. I should really cut off the bottom, but I can do that in the mix down. Some filtering, and again standard, some LFO. What do I have on the second one? Noveltech, low pass filter, and a little bit more EQ in because I realised this was pushing out the other plug, so I had to dip it at about 2k, where the other track was quite prevalent at. The other plug was prevalent, so I pulled it down. Again, I did a lot more EQ in the mix down, as there was quite a bit of clashing in the sounds. So those are the plugs, quite simple. Here are the pads. Hopefully the computer doesn't break, because I use lots of Sounds Inspire, and again, like I say, they don't like the capture card. So yeah, the key to these pads, I think, is in the breakdown to make sure it's not fully open on the cut-off filter, because in the past I like to do that, and because of that, it completely wrecks the lead sound, lead melody. So yeah, very simple, I wouldn't even say, I would say a chord progression, because it's literally two keys, two notes together. But I mean, it's very, very simple. But I had the melody for this track, which I'll show you in a minute, for about over a year and a half, and I couldn't make the track sound. It was interesting, but it got boring really, really quick, because the melody's quite simple. So but I really like the melody, so I made sure that I got this track out, because I really do like the melody. So so what did I do on my pads? Level tag, standard, some EQ, some compression. This is parallel compression. Normal compression, low pass filter, and triggered low pass. Yeah, basic. Yeah, not much else to it really. So what do I have down here? Here's the melodies. So I'll show one melody first. Show what it sounds like. Very nice melody, very basic like I said before, but it sounds really, really nice and uplifting. So yeah, that's what they sound together. Sounds very nice. Only automation I've used is basically low pass filters, as well as controlling the cut off within the Inspire, just so it changes it from being a really, really short decay plucky sound to opening up the filter so it's a full blown melody basically. So yeah, so it sounds like this original. I've done that with quite a few actually. Yeah, you can see mod wheel. I assigned the cut off to the mod wheel. Lead bus is just generic, the bus low pass filter, and also I did I think this is just the LFO trigger. So obviously on the breakdown, I've kept it off, and then as soon as the kick comes in, I bring it back in. What else do I have? Again, like I said, it's quite basic. So underneath that, I just have a little lead bass. Just as soon as the lead drops in, it sounds like massive. So it sounds like this. Didn't want it to be too subby, because it kind of destroys the mix down if I have too much bass in the breakdown. But no, basically that's the track. Again, very simple. I see my uplifter seem to be quite simply produced, but I think that's the most effective way. Simplicity is quite key in these. On the tech trance sound side, I seem to be there's a lot more going on. It takes a lot longer to produce a track. But no, guys, what happens next? It should be out now on Beatport, so go collect it. There should be a link in the description. Thanks for watching. See you later. Bye.
What if we thought of fear as an amazing act of the imagination? Our fears provoke in us a very similar form of suspense. Our fears focus our attention on a question that is as important in life as it is in literature. What will happen next? Our fears provoke in us a very similar form of suspense. Our fears focus our attention on a question that is as important in life as it is in literature.